Welcome back to the show. I am so excited to dive into yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my new friend, Rachel Greenwell. Welcome to the show, Rachel. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this all day long.
Right? Rebel Radio is my favorite day of the week. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do. Give us a little history of who Rachel is.
mm. So I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm somebody who had a lot of problems. People ask me all the time, how did you get into this field of helping people? I'm like, I had a lot of problems. That's why. And it led me into an intense healing journey that inevitably became my life's work by becoming a life and a spiritual coach. So I had a lot of problems that I did a lot of healing for to figure out how to help those problems. And then I had a big spiritual awakening that led me to a lot of the answers that I don't think I would have ever found otherwise as solutions to my problems. So, we're human beings and we're spiritual beings, and both are necessary to have to take a look at when you're trying to become a whole healthy human being. So that's why, I became a life and a spiritual coach. So a little bit of my background with my issues that I've overcame is addictions, mental illnesses. I experienced traumas, and a lot of just really bad belief systems. I think about I had a terribly low self-worth, deeply ingrained poverty mindset. I mean, just a lot of those dynamics that were passed down in my family lineage that I've had to overcome. And so I just became known as this person who was really great at healing herself really rapidly. And then as I was involved in the healing community, people got a lot out of me, and I began to just realize that this was my purpose, and my passion and my mission in life was to help other people to figure out the things that I had figured out how to do for myself. And but that's also coupled with some formal education. So I have a master's of consciousness that I got from a local metaphysics school. When I had my spiritual awakening, I dove into that pretty hard and got that master's of consciousness thing. And then I went to school, got my bachelor's of science and psychology, and I'm also a certified peer support specialist in mental health and a certified life coach.
Wow, lots.
And I'm a
I'm,
published author.
Yay! Oh
That's
my
the
gosh.
newest thing.
I love that so much. And I think that's so true of most of us who are coaches, is that we work on ourselves first, and then people see the shift that we've made and they go, well, how did you do that? Tell me more. Right. And we can't help but want to move that out into the world because it feels so good for us to heal ourselves. We want everybody to have that same experience.
Yeah.
Love it. So before we went live, I shared a little bit about your numerology, and I'm curious, what was your biggest takeaway from that information?
That that I'm known, that I'm known by the universe. The universe knows and supports me, and I'm on purpose, and I'm intelligently crafted to be exactly who I am, right?
Oh, yes. I love that. Crafted to be exactly who I am. That is so good.
It's all
Instant
on purpose.
goosebumps.
There's no accidents about
No.
what makes me me, right? And even the things that feel like they might be barriers to my success or barriers to relationships, they were all on purpose too, right? So I get to
Absolutely.
just fully accept me right now.
Yes. So good. So good. So I imagine on this journey that you've been on of healing yourself so much and stepping fully into a completely different lifestyle, that there's been a level of self mastery involved. And I'm curious what self mastery means to you.
For me, in my personal journey, I think it can mean, gosh, so many things.
Right?
But for me personally, in my journey, it meant discovering my worth. Just
Mm.
to really know fully that I deserve the desires of my heart, that I deserve to live my purpose and my truth. And so that I can do all those things that I was intelligently crafted to do unapologetically in the world.
Yeah.
That I get to just be freely myself 100%. And that was the journey for me of self-mastery, and everything else, right? The what I do came from that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was what it meant for me, and self-mastery for me is to be inside of myself, inside of my own brain, inside of my own consciousness, happy with me 100%. So that whatever I put out into the universe, right? It's like be what the change that you want to make in the world or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I wanted to be able to give it to the world, I had to really embody it and become it. So for me, it's about really becoming, not just learning some skills, not just, memorizing information that I can regurgitate to a client. It was really about doing it so much and so well that I embody it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take work for me to give that back out because it's part of who I am.
Yeah.
That's what self-mastery means to me.
I love
when I
that.
become it, I've mastered it.
Yeah, I love that so much. And that, I mean, we've kind of touched on that already, but I'm curious how that level of self-mastery has supported you as an entrepreneur in coaching and building a business.
It gave me the confidence. I don't think that nobody goes after anything that they don't feel like they can actually do.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't think I can do it, I'm not even going to try.
Right?
That's what kept me really stuck for a long time and not going after my dreams and not achieving my full potential in life, is because I thought I was going to fail. I thought I wasn't going to be able to get it done, right? Or nobody would like it if I put it on. Nobody cared about what I had to say, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that level of self-mastery, being able to really embody all of the principles that you need to get, it's about being confident in order to say, I want that, I'm getting it.
Yes.
I
love that.
Well, that'd be nice, or maybe one day. But
that's for everybody else. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that.
It's like I would have never built a business if I didn't think it was going to manifest one day.
Yeah, absolutely. So this really ties into the other topic that we love to talk about here at Rebel Radio, because you mentioned your self-worth. And I believe that wealth is an extension of that. When we understand our own worth, then we can understand that we can all be wealthy. But wealthy is this weird word that everybody has a different definition for. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious what wealth means to you.
Wealth for me means, I think, kind of the same, like abundance on all levels, right? Enough on all levels that I get to have all of I think it's when the inner world gets really great, and then you manifest the physical embodiment of those things that you've obtained inside, right? Like, if I get the peace on the inside, what does that look like when I manifest it into my outer reality? Well, it would probably look like a big clean home and everybody, being able to relax around me. And it would look like, simple and maybe beautiful, elegant thing. Like, it would look what my vision of peace on the outside looks like, right? The manifestation of what it feels like. So it's like us getting to express those spiritual gifts.
Mm-hmm.
What would it look like if I feel like I'm more than enough and I have more than enough? What does that look like in my reality, right? Yeah. Oh, it's always about the expression of the spiritual thing that I've gotten first.
Yes, I love that. I say that all the time. Whatever's on the outside is a direct reflection of what's on the inside.
Yeah. And then it's us getting to be creative, right? Yeah. To express what our inner wealth looks like.
Exactly. I love that. And you and I express completely different. Like, even just look at our surroundings in this video, right? Like, you've got this white background and animal prints, and I'm all red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So wealth looks different for every human, I think. And
right.
It's that abundance of whatever's on the inside. I love that. So good. So on this entrepreneurial journey and working with clients and understanding what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what is one thing you wish every entrepreneur knew? I trip everybody up with this question and this one thing. This is one thing.
Oh my God. I have courses upon courses. I wish they all knew their worth. Wish they all knew that they do deserve it. And I wish they knew that what they're going to create is directly related to their worth and how they feel about themselves. And that I wish they knew that it gets to be easy. And I wish they knew that they didn't have to work 27 hours a day.
Right.
We all we think that it's about doing more and working really freaking hard and the grind and the hustle and the doing it, all day long, like killing yourself. Like, oh, you have to work 10 times harder than anybody else. You have to do, there's these sort of misconceptions, I think, about what it means to do that and what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it's the opposite. And I hung myself up. I prevented myself from getting to better places in life because I was trying to do it like the way I thought it needed to be done, or the way I learned from people that never, really fully got to the places where I wanted to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking lessons from them when I shouldn't have,
Yeah. I love that. And it's, I've followed every productivity expert out there, the Brendan Burchards and the Darren Hardys of the world. And it's all that hustle, grind, go, 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 do the things now so that you don't have to do them later. And I'm sitting here going, well, and I did that. I followed that doctrine, and it obviously did not work out for me. I just thought that if I just work a little bit harder, that somehow I would have that magical breakthrough and I would be wealthy. Yeah. And it wasn't until I realized, wait a second, the outside is a reflection of the inside, that then I started doing more of that inner work, and things got so much easier.
And that you get to do it your way.
Yeah.
And that, like, while it's cool and great and everybody does model themselves after some people that are maybe ahead of them or where they want to be, like, we have to look for inspiration somewhere. But the most important thing is that you get to do it your way. And your way, what works for you is always going to be different than what works for somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. You have to follow your gut. You have to follow your intuition. You have to co-create with God and do it in the way that's meant for you. And if you're trying to duplicate or replicate somebody else's message and somebody else's purpose, it will inevitably fail. You have Absolutely. To do it based on your core purpose, your core mission, your core values, and do what's right for you in your life, in your timeline.
Yes, because you are intelligently crafted to be you.
Ooh, mantra.
Right? I think I know the title of this episode already. I love it. So what's one thing, here's another one thing question that I'm sure you just love. What's one thing that you've discovered about yourself along this journey of self-mastery that has helped you to grow?
I think that I can trust myself. And that when I drown out the noise of all the things and all the people and all the trainings and all the false information all around me, that's when I finally get my answer, my clarity. So I really should just skip all the bullshit. Like, normally I run around in circles, like, all over the place. What do I do? I'm trying to get to the next level. I'm trying to rise into this. And I'm like looking everywhere outside of me for all the answers. And then it just messes me up and puts me off my path and makes it 10 times longer and 10 times harder. And if I would have just stopped, got quiet, listened to my gut, meditated, and decide to receive, and then trust it the first time, right?
Right. Yeah, because sometimes you get that nudge and you go, no, that can't be right.
Are you crazy? Infinite knowledge? No, infinite knowledge is not crazy. That is an infinite intelligence, and you are not smarter than that, where that is coming from. You're not. Listen the first time, even if it doesn't make sense to your little human mind.
Yeah, and a lot of times it won't make sense. Exactly. So I'm curious, what does it feel like to trust yourself? Because I think there's a lot of our audience who's like, well, okay, trust yourself, but how? Like, what does it feel like to be able to fully embody that trust?
I think it feels really peaceful. Like, for me, it's when I finally go, all right. And I have that sigh of relief. and I surrender. It feels like surrender, and it feels really peaceful, and it feels really grounded. And it's like when I'm stuck in my head, it's really busy and chaotic when I'm not in trust, right? It's everywhere. But when I finally just, it's like we always know, because we're connected to that infinite intelligence, right? So the answer's always there. And we know, we can feel when we're in alignment with it, but we normally decide to run away from that and not trust it and do everything but.
Yeah.
And so that's, it feels peaceful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I was just having this conversation about trust yesterday on a different podcast episode. So I love that this whole trust theme is top of mind right now. It's good. So with everything that's going on in the world, we've talked about this quite a bit, shutting out all the noise, right? With everything that's going on in the world with current events and the political environment and COVID and all of these things, what's something that you would share with our audience about how to navigate current events?
I would say turn off the TV.
Yes, please.
For the majority of your time being awake.
No more news.
I think that it's fine to be informed. We need to know, find good sources of information, and try not to ingest too many things that are going to remove you from what you know. Figure out what you know for sure, right? What do I know for sure? What do I value? What is in alignment with my values as a person? And then ping all the information that comes in to your consciousness off of those core values.
Yes.
And if it doesn't align with what you know for sure, right? Don't ingest it. You don't have to take everything in just because it's on the TV, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that. And I know I myself have never really been a big news watcher, but I completely stopped watching the news a few years ago. And I stay informed through sources that I believe in. And that's really all I need. I find that I don't even need to be all that informed because I'm over here creating my own reality.
Yeah, and figure out what you have power over and what you don't have power over.
Yeah, exactly.
And then decide that you don't have to worry about the things that are bigger than you, right?
Right. Yes.
I can't run a whole country, right? It takes a lot of people to run a country.
Yeah.
It's not on me.
No, exactly. Oh, Rachel, I feel like I could talk to you all day.
Yeah.
I'm loving this conversation. I want to thank you for being on the show. But as always, we end Rebel Radio with one last question. She's like, oh no, I'm not prepared. Yeah. What do you dream of for the world?
World worth. I want to teach the world its worth. I think that this is my Miss America thing, but I think world peace is totally achievable for our planet, but I think it's too big of a stretch in the state that our society is in right now, and that we have to start with world worth. We have to know and begin to love ourselves first. And I think through that action of self-love, we'll be able to love each other, and that love will then create the peace.
Yes. Total goosebumps. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Right? World peace is possible. I believe it too. Rachel, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a fantastic time.